DA with us. But unfortunately, DA played the roulette game with us over the last 2 weeks. And
I am Dr. Mpopalatse, Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg.
Just in case you missed this story, the City of Joburg has a new mayor yet again.
Al-Jamahaz Tupelo Ahmed has resigned as mayor of the City of Johannesburg. His resignation was...
Say, so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Can you...
Welcome to it, man. This is the Free Ride podcast. And of course, this is the unfiltered truths. Don't be surprised or shocked that I've shaved off everything. I did it yesterday on the 1st of May. And I thought, wait again, let me start off a new month. It's my son's birthday month. I can shave everything off. So I thought, let me get that out of the way because my kids were not happy about it, man. So they only saw last night when they got home. Everything. They were like, yo, man, we don't want to be going anywhere with you because you look like some 20-something-year-old. So, I don't know. Anyway, it's their business. But welcome to the show. It's a brand new month, the 2nd of May. A lot is happening in South Africa. We saw yesterday the May Day celebrations were taking place all over the country. And of course, today being the 2nd of May, so much is going down in Johannesburg. So, as I record this, it has been almost 2 hours of a 3-hour plus lunch, all right, 3 hours of a caucus break asked by the ANC after they've had a 30-minute caucus break. Not the ANC, there was another party that asked for a caucus break in council in the city of Johannesburg in Braamfontein at the Connie Bapela council chambers. So what's going down is that you must have heard, right, that Thapelo Ahmad resigned as mayor of Johannesburg. And as a result, there's a vacancy in the city of Johannesburg, so there's no mayor. So this meeting today is about electing a mayor of Johannesburg, all right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to look back from now up until 2016 when all hell broke loose in the city of Johannesburg. Because firstly, let me tell you, that the city of Joburg comprises of about just over 6 million residents living in the city of Joburg, and only about 1.8 million of us were eligible. Well, actually, 1.8 million of us went out to go and vote on 2021 elections, right? Which was a significant drop to the previous elections in 2016. But since 2016, the city of Johannesburg has had 8 mayors who have served in the city of Johannesburg, including this term of office, which started November 2021, right? So in this term of office alone, we are now going for mayor number 4, all right? So I'm going to take you through the list of all the mayors. And listen, it is the fault of us as residents of Johannesburg, those of you who are eligible to vote, but you don't go and register to vote and you don't turn out to go and vote. Only about 45.71% of us who are registered, who are eligible to vote in the city of Joburg went out and voted. And as a result, the ANC got 33% of the votes, the DA got 26.4%, the PA got 2.93%, the IFP got 2.36%, Action SA is sitting with 16.05%, which is a big jump for a new political party that just came out and fought its first elections. And of course, this is led by Herman Mashaba, who was the mayor of the city of Joburg back in 2016 when he was a member of the Democratic Alliance. Al-Jama is sitting at 0.96% with just about 3 seats, right? So let me take you back. The city of Joburg, let's check out all the mayors that we've had in the city of Joburg. Let's go. Boom.
Just in case you missed this story, the City of Joburg has a new mayor yet again. This guy over here by the name of Tapelo Ahmad was sworn in as the city's new executive mayor today. But here's where things get really interesting. It's actually all thanks to the Patriotic Alliance who voted with the ANC to topple the coalition. Now, if you are a PA supporter, you deserve to know exactly what the Patriotic Alliance, specifically Gayton McKenzie, is getting up to with your vote. What took place in the city of Johannesburg is a classic case in point of how the Patriotic Alliance votes with the ANC to completely disrupt local councils across the country. And this is all part of a bigger strategy to get the ANC back into power in certain municipalities across the country in exchange for positions for PA politicians. If you are someone who voted for the Patriotic Alliance, you need to know that Gayton McKenzie is a scam. He is nothing but a Trojan horse to help keep the ANC in power. Now here's where things get even more amusing. The new mayor of Johannesburg comes from a party who only holds 3 seats in council, while the Speaker of Council comes from a party with only 1 seat. This article in the Daily Maverick will tell you everything you need to know about what unfolded. And I quote, "A total of 140 councillors voted in favour of the motion to have Mpho Palatse removed, while 129 councillors voted against it. Among the parties that voted in favour, the ANC, the EFF, the Patriotic Alliance, Al-Jamar and ATM. Those who voted against the motion included the DA, Action SA, ACDP and Freedom Front Plus." I hope that South Africans can finally see what smaller parties get up to in some of our municipalities. If there's one thing that you need to take away from all of it, is that 1, smaller parties are incredibly bad for coalitions and stable governments in South Africa, and number 2, that a vote for the Patriotic Alliance is a vote for the ANC. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Al-Jamah's Tapelo Ahmad has resigned as mayor of the City of Johannesburg. His resignation was announced on Monday, the 24th of April 2023, just 1 day before he was set to face a motion of no confidence. Ahmed had begun losing favour with some of the members of the ANC EFF Patriotic Alliance voting bloc that had voted him into the position of mayor of Johannesburg in January of this year. The City of Joburg is expected to be without leadership for a few days until a new mayor is chosen for the position. The Democratic Alliance has put former mayor of Johannesburg, Mpho Palatse, forward as their candidate for the position of mayor of Johannesburg. However, this decision has not much impressed some of their former coalition partners, who believe that the DA should have consulted them and engaged in negotiations before putting forward a candidate. Additionally, some of the Democratic Alliance's potential allies in Joburg, like Action SA, have criticised the party for refusing to work with the Patriotic Alliance in order to prevent another ANC-EFF coalition in the city.
I am Dr. Palatse, Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg. I introduce myself as Johannesburg's mayor, despite the council having appointed an ANC mayor in my place last week Friday, because I believe that sitting was a sham and the decisions taken there unlawful. I believe a court will soon confirm this view. As far as I'm concerned, I still have a duty of service to the residents of Johannesburg, a duty which I intend to perform to the best of my ability.
Do you consider the prescribed oath to be binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Having done so, can you please raise your right hand, say, "So help me God"?
So help me God.
Thank you. Can you go down there so that we can sign?
The city is on the brink of collapse. We don't have accounting officers. The CEO of the city, which is the city manager, the CFO, group CFO, the chief operating officer, they're not there. This is why the city is collapsing. That is my first priority, to stabilize and professionalize that space of an administrative wing. From there, we sit together. We have identified other issues, such as stabilizing the finances of the city. How do we generate income so that we can champion service delivery? And then how do we also engage with other sectors, which is private sector? The biggest issue is the issue of Eskom as well. How do we make sure that as a service provider, electricity, how do we stabilize that space? We can also look into private-public partnership with other stakeholders.
Thank you so much. Let me first thank the collective, the team that is here, all the parties that has supported us to hold the fort. You should remember that the first disruption of service delivery happened in 2016. The second one was in 2021. However, I had to hold a fort to a certain degree. Of course, we as the collective, we have set the terms of reference on how to govern this coalition. There are priorities that were articulated to say this is the priorities of this group. So whoever who's going to succeed is going to continue from there. And this has nothing to do with the public opinion on my ability to lead. Secondary to that, of course, the 9 billion was just a prospect. It was a discussion. As the executive mayor, I engaged the stakeholders to ensure that there's stability, and when you engage the stakeholders, it also suggests good governance. So I met the prospect. It wasn't part of council. There was never contravention of any laws of council. Thank you.
As you can see, man, Thapelo Ahmad was under pressure. There was an interview he did. He denied it, as you could see in a press conference, that it was not anything to do with the 9 billion that he pronounced, that he was talking to specific stakeholders who are looking to invest about 9 billion in the city. And that caused a lot of havoc for him. I mean, he could not really explain how this 9 billion would come in with the first 5 years where the city pays back just less than 2% annually, or it pays nothing for the first 5 years and then 2% per year thereafter on 9 billion. So that caused a lot of problems because he's not a financial guy. He's not the MMC of finance. And so that sort of created problems for him. And of course, Gayton McKenzie came out guns blazing for him, as well as Action SA calling for his removal, and a motion of no confidence coming towards Thapelo. So the motion of confidence, we're going to be against Thapelo Ahmad. We're going to be against the Speaker, Colleen Makubele, as well as the Chief Whip of Council. All right. So those three votes of no confidence were going to serve last week, and Thapelo threw in his letter of resignation quickly, and that caused problems. And of course, the next day where these motions were to be debated, the Speaker of Council then asked King, because of this mess with the mayor, and that means that the mayoral committee then gets dissolved automatically. And mind you, people had applied to work in the mayor's office. People had already applied to work in the MMC's office. God only knows what happens to the people that have left their jobs, applied for these jobs, and now to find that there is so much instability in the city of Joburg. It's a madhouse, I tell you. So today, as it sits, that there are a couple of names thrown around, right? So I've heard there is a guy by the name of Kabelo Kwamanda who comes from Al Jama. He is, they've got 3 seats, Al Jama. Tapelo is one of them. Kabelo is one of them. These are 2 both PR councillors. The third one is actually a ward councillor because Al Jama ward won a ward in Indonesia. So Kabelo is one name. Colleen Makubele might be another name. I don't know if that's going to be accepted by that small coalition of parties, which include COPE, Al Jama, ANC, AIC, and I don't know if I'm forgetting anybody else. But so those are the parties that are going with the ANC and the EFF. And the EFF, I'm not sure if the EFF want an ANC candidate, but as a result of what happened in Ekurhuleni, where the ANC did not play ball, if you remember the saga, where the former mayor of Ekurhuleni, Mzwandile Masina, defied the ANC Gauteng chairperson and the leadership of Gauteng by putting up a nomination, whereas the nomination was supposed to come from the EFF nominating one of their own so that they become the mayor. And so as a result, the ANC nominated its own candidate and the EFF withdrew their nomination and the whole thing collapsed. And then the EFF was like, we are gunning for Joburg. We are not going to bring the ANC through the back door in Johannesburg. And only if we sort out Ekurhuleni will we vote with the ANC in Johannesburg. I don't know if anything has changed. It's politics. It's politics, and you don't know who is going to emerge at this point. But the 3 names that I think might come out is that of the ANC chairperson, Dara Morero. He's rightfully supposed to be the candidate for the ANC because he's the chairperson of the ANC in the Joburg region. And then the other 2 names, Kabelo, Gwamanda, comes from the Al Jama. So we don't know in the negotiation, in the caucuses that are happening at the moment, whether the PA is agreeing to what this core is agreeing to and whether the COPE agrees with the nomination of Kabelo Kwamanda. So we don't know. Or whether COPE wants Colleen Makubele, who has 1 seat, by the way, who is a current Speaker of Council, has ambitions to become the mayor. And of course, on the other side, the DA went out and had a press conference last week and announced that they would be putting up Mpho Phalatse to become their mayoral candidate. And as a result, Action SA was like, what the hell is the DA smoking? Because the DA did not negotiate with Action SA, with IFP, and with the PA. And if you'd remember, about 2 weeks ago, before Tapelo announced his resignation, Gayton McKenzie of the Patriotic Alliance had announced that he's resigning as mayor on the other side of the Karoo, and that he had ambitions to become the mayor in the city of Joburg. But it seems like those news were not well received. And therefore, he pulled his name back, saying he's no longer going to be contesting. So let's wait and see what's going to be happening in the next hour or so in the city of Johannesburg as to who is going to be elected as mayor of Johannesburg. And that's going to be extremely interesting because on the other side of the DA and PA, the DA Action SA is that Action SA wants to field Funzi Ngobeni, and the DA says Mpopalat. So they're already divided there. And I don't know if the Patriotic Alliance is going to swim with the DA as well as Action SA, or will the PA continue swimming with the DA, the ANC, as well as the EFF on the one side? God only knows. But let me tell you something. As a resident of the city of Johannesburg, we have been inundated with failures of service delivery in the city of Joburg since 2016. First of all, the roads are pathetic. There's too much potholes everywhere you go. The robots are malfunctioning in most cases. Okay, maybe load shedding might have something to do with it. But even though the load shedding comes back, there's still major problems with most robots. Thirdly, now, even though the robots go off, and I'm speaking about this because a lot of people that go to work suffer constantly in the mornings because of traffic congestion that is so bad all over the city. The robots are out. There is no traffic cops, no people working at the intersections trying to control the traffic. Sometimes the insurance guys come out, but sometimes it's your homeless people who go out and man the traffic and make sure that they control some form of traffic there. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it does, all right? So then there are other major issues, right? So the property rates have gone up. They've shot up by almost % in some areas. If you are in a middle suburbia area or a township, Nyana Elongor, it's got nice bonded houses. The houses have gone up by about, and then in your areas where it's middle class, nice, fairly nice about what their bonds are going to cost them, just from the rates point of view. And of course, if you could query it, you had an opportunity to do that through the Department of Finance. But that's one issue, is that the taxpayer ends up spending more. Not only are we going to spend more on our bonds, we are going to spend more on our rates, just for your refuse to be collected, just for your water, your electricity. The electricity is also shot up. So it's going to be crazy for many of us who are taxpayers in the city of Johannesburg. And not only that is that a problem, but there are other problems that are in the city of Joburg, okay? So unemployment is rife, youth unemployment is rife, crime is at its highest than ever before. If you look at the illegal immigrants, go to Joburg town. Yo, Josie Buffett, yo. The other day, Nikiloko small street, Buffett, yo, Fortsbeck, small, Hillbro. Like, go all over Joburg, man. Illegal immigrants from Pakistan, from China, from India, from Somalia, from just about anywhere. These homies have made themselves a home in Johannesburg. At least 90% of the shops that are in the city of Joburg at the moment, most of them are run by foreigners. Most of them are run by foreigners. You'll find bomme bonkgono bontate mogolo selling your taxi ranks on the sides of the road, and they are illegally occupying some of the spaces there, but the shops have gone to foreign nationals. Now, I don't know how the city is the new leadership is going to deal with a huge influx of foreign nationals who are here illegally. Majority of the buildings in the city of Joburg are taken over by people who are either foreign nationals who are here illegally.
We are in the public safety. That Hillbrow must be restored to its former glory. We cannot allow a situation where shacks are erected on the paving of a Hillbrow. That is not land expropriation. That's anarchy. Land expropriation is not land damage. No hijacked buildings we must go and reclaim our buildings in Gauteng. And when we reclaim our buildings, we don't say we are reclaiming buildings from foreigners. We are reclaiming buildings from criminals. They are criminals. We don't care where they come from.
Who are here illegally, and they've occupied these buildings illegally, and they've put in tenants, and they are charging tenants for rent and consuming electricity, consuming water, making and putting a burden on you who is a taxpayer. Not only is that a problem, but there is so much problems when it comes to illegal dumping in the city of Joburg. Go to Alex, go to Orange Farm, go to Princess Informal Settlement, go to Diepsloot, go to Joburg Town. Like people that are selling there in most taxi ranks, it's dirty, man. Dirty, 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 dirty. It's like there are rats just living a good life because people are dumping and they're illegally dumping in open spaces. If you go to Fleurhof on your way to Meadowlands, there's a new road that was built that goes to Meadowlands from Florida side. If you look on the left-hand side, you'll see people illegally dumping, building rubble there. So those are some of the issues that the city of Johannesburg is faced with. And I don't know if the new mayor is going to be able to find some priorities to be able to resolve some of the issues that I've just spoken of. And I mean, the issues are way bigger than that, all right? A lot of the facilities that belong to the city of Joburg, they are already, if they are not mostly taken over by illegal people, like your sports and rec facilities, your recreation centers, like your government buildings that belong to the city, some of them, vagrants have just taken over them. And they live there. They use water illegally. Electricity is connected illegally. And I don't know if the new mayor is going to be able to deal with such problems. Then the last issue is probably the transport issue. Okay, so City of Joburg's got the Department of Transport, and they're responsible for your roads, for beautification of the roads, your JDA, Joburg Development Agency. I don't know what the heck they're actually doing, other than the fact that they try to beautify, spots like, for instance, in Bram, they put up some nice artificial or art statues there. They tried to go Newtown. They tried to beautify Newtown. There's a few other places that they've tried to beautify with like art effects and whatever. And then under the Department of Transport is Metrobus as well as BRT. So if you look at Metrobus, it's got, these buses moving from one side of the city to the other, from the east to the center of Joburg, from the west to the center, from the north to the center of Joburg. Metrobus really just takes about 2 to 3 million people per month who are using Metrobus, which is a great thing. The number has increased because BRT came in, and it also assisted in taking a lot of numbers of people that commute from the West Rand to the inner city, to the north, to the east, and to the south, right? BRT came in, bought a couple of new buses. I mean, some of the buses are pretty cool, but if you look at some of the BRT infrastructure, like some of the bus stations, some of them are broken down, vandalized, especially if you go as if you're going past Westbury, along Westbury route from a Soweto to Joburg route through Westbury. Some of the stations don't work, like the one at South, the old, used to be not Southgate Mall, anyway, it's a China Mall now, but it's on your route towards Westbury. So there's 2 stations on your way before you get to Auckland Park. two stations that are not operational is completely vandalized. I mean, both stations, each station is about a cost of just over 5 million just to build one. So anyway, Metrobus, Rea Vaya, BRT has its own problems. And over and above that, the trains are not working in the West Rand. So if there was a train that's coming from Ranfontein, it's no longer coming from Ranfontein into the city center. So it's increased traffic on the roads because people are going to the taxi, they're going to buses, they are driving. So, and now the road infrastructure is suffering because the rail is a mess. And the previous mayors have not really engaged with PRASA and Transnet to look at whether they are going to be able to fix the Randfontein to Johannesburg line, Metro Rail, like they have done. Soweto, there's one line that's already been operational. I've seen a few trains there. It's really eased a lot of traffic coming out from Soweto to the city center. So yeah, those are some of the problems that I think I have seen in the city of Joburg, over and above the billing issues that are also just clobbering residents of Johannesburg. For instance, you get a water bill and you get an electricity bill. Lucky for some of us who are on prepaid, we avoided all of that. But if you're not, you get this itemized. Well, it's not really itemized, and so they get your bill and they give you an estimate, and then you are sitting with a bill of about 3,000, 4,000, whereas you have not even consumed as much electricity, let alone that, not as much water, and yet you've had to pay so much. So the billing issue is a big problem in the city of Joburg. I don't know if they are going to be able to resolve it. I know there's a lot of pensioners who have been complaining, saying, firstly, the properties were rated incorrectly. And secondly, the fact that they are pensioners, they should get rebates and they have not received rebates. It's a whole long story around that. So, yeah, so let's see who's going to emerge as the new mayor. And hopefully, as I edit this, I'll be able to come back and say, here's a new mayor. All right, here is a new mayor who is going to take the city of Joburg into the next level. So there's less than a few years before we head into the next local elections. But as we know, that 2024 is the next elections where you are going to go out and vote for your leadership at the national level as well as in provinces. 2026, we get back to the municipal elections. So between now and then, I think there's going to be this yo-yo between the political parties, this give and take between the political parties. And of course, I think this is my last point. I want to support the call by the ANC to say that there needs to be a law that needs to be taken to Parliament or taken through Parliament to say, in an event where there are coalitions in a specific municipality or a province or even at national level. So they need to pass this law quickly so that it says, let's say, for instance, in the city of Joburg, 2021, the numbers were what they were, the ANC at 33%, the DA at 26.4%, and the P at 2.93%, right? So all these numbers, and there's no outright winner, and the negotiation starts. The first agreement between whatever parties that come together to elect the mayor, that they must not go back on what they agreed. For instance, it cannot be as a mayor, and then just because now there are personality clashes between this leader, that leader, within that coalition, and somebody said something somebody didn't like, and then they say, wait again, I'm now jumping ship from this coalition. I'm going to go into that particular group of people, and we're going to form a coalition. Because it's creating so much instability. the people that are laughing the loudest are actually officials. And I'm not talking about your executive directors. I'm talking about people below them. People who have been part of the furniture in the city of Joburg, because they see your MMCs coming, your mayor coming, and then tomorrow it's a new MMC, there's a new executive director, there's a new assistant director, there's a new, because those positions are linked to political officers. And so it creates stability. So yeah, it's going to be crazy. So if this new law gets passed, hopefully, or it gets passed into a law, it will say, once we've agreed that this is who we're putting forward as mayor, as speaker, we are not allowed to have motions of no confidence within a specific amount of time. Not unless somebody has transgressed the agreements of what the coalition has said. If somebody has stolen money, somebody has been corrupt, maybe they have employed their own people, whatever the reasons might be. But there needs to be some form of agreement. You can't just wake up today and say, I don't like the DA, I don't like the EFF, I don't like the ANC. Therefore, the leader of that party said something on national TV and said something about my party's leader, and therefore we have agreed, we are going to pull back from this coalition and we are going to allow it for a collapse. Because we are being taken as fools in the city of Joburg, man. I'm not happy about it. I'm sure you're not happy about it. I know my community is furious. They are so furious, man. We've had so many problems. Okay, here's another problem I did not speak about. The Zama issue. No mayor has spoken about this. The Zamas are creating such a huge infrastructural mess in the city of Joburg. Those niggas are bombing the ground underneath. They are exploding, creating tunnels. There are sinkholes happening all over the city. There are wires, there are sewer pipes that are being bursted. There's rivers that are filled, like in Cllrs, just outside of Florida. The dam smells like there's sewer because they blew up a sewer pipe and all that sewer flows into the river. The fish has died. The smell in Cllrs as well as Meadowlands is insane because the Zamas are digging at will, man. They're just going at it. Nobody's telling them to stop. They're just doing their thing. The whole mining belt going from Langlaagte all the way to you can go as far as maybe Randfontein. You'll find so many illegal mining taking place there. Go past Matole, just behind Matole. Yeah, before you go to Vlakfontein and Leratong. Go Matole, just behind there. There's a huge mining compound. Behind Florida Lake, behind the BP, there's a huge mining thing going on there. And these guys are just, they are blowing up the infrastructure, water pipes underneath, so that the water can be diverted to their little ponds where they wash their gold. The Zamas, man. Zamas. Anyway, let me come to an end of this show. Thank you very much for watching. I know it was a rant. It was probably one of the worst rants I've had in a very long time because this has created so much instability. And if we don't do something about it, or the leadership does something about it, 2024, it's going to be a possible coalition in Gauteng, possible coalition in various provinces, and a possible coalition government at national level. And if there's no law that actually governs how coalitions must work, I'm telling you right now, Remasepe. We are in trouble. Anyway, this is how I come to the end of the Free Ride podcast. This has been the unfiltered truth. I hope you're doing good. I hope you take care. Mudimuko wa khorata lwena lenna onthatile. Peace.